With Zefram Cochrane's first warp flight, suddenly humanity was flung into the cosmos. And riding on this success, the United Earth Space Probe Agency would create the Jein Class to help humanity on its way. But what do we know about this pre-Starfleet Starship class? Well, today we'll find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon, a Star Trek web series that dives into the history of any given topic using beta canon sources and my own imagination to fill in the gaps. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the Jein Class as first seen in the Star Trek Chronology Manual to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Please note, this video actually gave me a headache creating it, not because I didn't want to make the video, but simply because canon had made certain aspects of its existence virtually impossible. But I buckled down and eventually worked out a tale that I hope you'll all enjoy. Also, since the Valiant itself didn't have a class name, I decided to name it after the man who created it, Greg Jein, a multiple Academy Award nominated science fiction model maker whose work has appeared throughout Star Trek since the motion picture. Sadly, Greg passed away of a heart attack on May 22nd, 2022. So Greg, this one's for you. But, and as always, because this is just a beta canon video, all information relayed should pretty much be taken with a grain of stardust and only considered a little bit of Star Trek fun. And so, with all that out of the way, let's begin. After Zefram Cochrane's first successful warp flight in 2063, UESPA, the United Earth Space Probe Agency, decided it was time to re-establish contact with Earth. When the bombs had begun to fall on Earth, UESPA, based on Luna, had made the tough decision to break contact with the home world, refusing to aid any side in the war using their advanced technology. Their intent was to ensure that humanity survived, and so the organization had begun various exploration and colony projects throughout the solar system. But now, with Earth at peace, riding on the success of Cochrane's warp flight, UESPA would make a deal with Cochrane to include his new warp drive system in several probes, as well as a manned spacecraft that they had been cobbling together, and in 2064, the Jein Class would be born. Sitting at a length of 97 meters, the Jein Class was designed to be operated by 80 officers and crew members. A very simple design, UESPA would put its best and brightest Starship engineers to the task of modifying the class's warp drive to squeeze as much speed out of it as the engines could handle. As a result, the Jein Class would begin with a standard safe cruising speed of warp factor 1.5, with an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 1.8 for 6-hour increments, all old warp scale of course. Tactically, the Jein Class would be equipped with UESPA's latest version of the laser cannon system. Unlike the future-developed phase cannons, these laser cannons were quite minimal in power, leading many at UESPA headquarters to wonder why they had even been included in the design in the first place. A unique addition to this class would be that of what was affectionately known as a shielding system, though in reality, it would bear little resemblance to Starfleet's shields of the future. Rather, this system was the precursor to polarized hull plating, incorporating a polarization matrix into its hull through the application of electromagnetic power. The metal hull of the class could be made several orders of magnitude harder than it was in its non-polarized state. The Jein Class would not contain any torpedo systems or transporters, as both those systems were yet to be invented. In fact, though the Jein Class was capable of planetary landing and takeoff, her mission would not require her to do so. It was UESPA's intent to send this Starship class deep into the cosmos. On a survey and mapping expedition, it was the hope that the Jein Class could pave the way for future starships by mapping out potential planets suitable for scientific study and/or colonization. Internally, the Jein Class would be very cramped, with only the captain and first officer receiving their own small, dedicated quarters. The Jein Class contained 2 fully stocked cargo bay facilities, as well as a fabrication facility able to create replacement parts should the Starship require them. Considered a quick and dirty Starship design, the SS Jein itself would perform exactly as expected during its shakedown cruise, leading UESPA to begin a mass construction project for the class, sending each ship out on a different trajectory to map the cosmos. Of course, one of the most famous starships of the Jein class would be that of the SS Valiant. Captained by Carlos Tarasco and launched in 2065, the first 4 years of their 5-year expedition had proceeded without a hitch. The SS Valiant was making history with each light year it traveled, reporting back to UESPA every detail of each passing day, but that would all change in 2069. During its flyby of the Beta 137 star system, the SS Valiant would become caught in an unusual magnetic storm. Following standard procedures, Tarasco would engage the ship's shield systems in hope of riding out the storm, as the class's nuclear impulse engines were simply not powerful enough to evade the storm. However, once the storm had ended, they found that the Valiant had been swept outside the galaxy through the galactic barrier. It seemed that the magnetic storm mixed with the polarization field had created a false warp field, flinging the Starship over 780 light-years off course, on an almost right angle to the galactic plane. Once repairs were complete, the SS Valiant attempted to make its way back through the galactic barrier and into the Milky Way, and although successful, the ship would sustain major damage to its warp drive system, making it irreparable. Not only that, but a strange lightning effect from the barrier would see 6 crew members killed during the attempt, and 1 crew member, Gerard Agnerson, endowed with superhuman godlike powers. Becoming a danger to the crew and the galaxy as a whole, Captain Tarasco would order everyone into the escape pods and abandon the ship, while he initiated the auto-destruct function, sacrificing himself to ensure Agnerson's death, and of course, the safety of his crew. Captain James T. Kirk and the intrepid crew of the Starship Enterprise would solve the mystery of the SS Valiant in 2265, after they encountered the disaster buoy while exploring the final frontier close to the galactic barrier. Attempting their own probe outside the galaxy, the Enterprise would sustain the same type of damage to its own warp drive as had befallen the Valiant, as well as gain 1 and then eventually 2 crew members with the same type of godlike powers, forcing Captain Kirk to engage his best friend, Lieutenant Commander Gary Mitchell, in a fisticuffs fight, and ultimately killing him for the safety of humanity and the galaxy as a whole. Starfleet Command would classify the incident, barring any starship from ever entering the galactic barrier. As for the Valiant's crew, after traveling through space for several months in proximity to the barrier, they too would begin to mutate, eventually developing telepathic and psychokinetic powers. Eventually, the 72 remaining Valiant survivors made planetfall on a Class M planet near the barrier and established their own colony there that they named Magnia, where in 2333, the USS Stargazer under the command of Dathan Ruhalter, with a young second officer Jean-Luc Picard, would establish contact with the colony. After a fierce battle with a new enemy called the New Yod, which resulted in the death of Captain Ruhalter and the Stargazer's first officer badly injured, Jean-Luc Picard would take command of the Stargazer, and due to his excellent handling of the situation, would be permanently promoted to the rank of captain and placed in command of the Stargazer, cementing this iconic hero's eventual rise to captain of the Federation flagship, the Enterprise D. The Jein Class would continue in service until 2120, when Starfleet Command, who acquired all spacefaring assets after its creation, would recall all vessels of this class for decommissioning. Created as a step towards humanity's exploration of the stars, the Jein Class would pave the way for countless missions throughout the final frontier, earning this class its very important place in Starfleet and Earth's history. Thank you for watching today's episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon. What do you think of the Jein Class and the historical narrative that I've created here? Do you want to see more videos like this one? Well, leave your comments in the section below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, hitting that little bell icon so you won't miss a single video we release. Want to help the channel protect Starship crews from the effects of the galactic barrier? Then consider becoming a channel member subscriber or a channel patron. Both a major help that allows this channel to purchase resources and 3D models to keep it going. The link to both memberships is in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Live long and prosper.